Well, I hope it was a great Passover weekend for people who celebrate, Easter weekend, etc. Except for a lot of people, it wasn't good. We had not one, not two, not three, not four, not five, but 10 mass shootings in the United States over the Easter weekend. 10 mass shootings, three of which were prominent enough to make national news, but a total of 10 different mass shootings, some particularly horrible. And it is yet another reminder of this completely out of control gun violence problem that exists in the United States. I'm going to tell you a little bit about some of these incidents. So, The Guardian reporting about three of these. Now, some of these were not, these terms are really crazy. Some of these were not major enough mass shootings that they got national attention. Some only got local attention. The Guardian reporting U.S. rocked by three separate mass shootings over Easter weekend. Actually, it was 10. Two teenage boys killed in Pittsburgh in one of at least three shootings over the weekend, including two in South Carolina. South Carolina didn't just have one Easter mass shooting, they had two Easter mass shootings. In Pittsburgh, two teenage boys killed and eight others wounded after gunfire erupted at a party in a short-term rental home in Pittsburgh early Sunday. The other two shootings, both in South Carolina, left a total of 18 people with bullet wounds, once again reigniting calls among advocates for meaningful gun control legislation. Now, remember, at any time, if you're morbidly curious about the sad state of gun violence in the United States, you can go to gunviolencearchive.org. And on that website, not only can you see a list of all recent shootings, meaning mass shootings and non-mass shootings, you can also see the mass shooting specifically and the details. And as you will see here, yesterday, Easter Sunday, we had a shooting in Pittsburgh, Miami, Portland, Furman, South Carolina, Sacramento, California, and Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Two mass shootings in Pennsylvania yesterday. One in Philly where four people were injured, and the one I mentioned in Pittsburgh where two were killed and eight were injured. On Saturday, the day before Easter, we saw mass shootings in Syracuse, New York, Baltimore, Maryland, Columbia, South Carolina, and North Las Vegas, Nevada. And then on Good Friday, we were lucky enough to have only one mass shooting in the United States in Stockton, California. Now, with any of these on Gun Violence Archive, you can click on the view incident or view source information. So, for example, if we look at Miami, it tells us where the shooting took place and who the victims were, gender, age, etc., and what the circumstances were. This one noting that it was a teen party. A teen party was the location of this shooting. This is absolutely insane. And maybe the most frustrating thing about this is the resignation with which, it's this, we joke, we haven't tried anything yet and we're all out of ideas. We've had all sorts of different proposals, and I'll be the first to tell you, listen, number one, we have a Second Amendment. You're not just going to ban guns. That shouldn't even be what the left tries to do, because you're not going to do it. We have a Second Amendment. But we have so many things that could be done that would, without a doubt, reduce the number of shooting deaths. It wouldn't eliminate them. Of course, you're always going to have people who obtain guns illegally. That's always the case. But if there are fewer guns in the system, there are fewer guns which can be obtained illegally. And we saw after the Sandy Hook shooting in Connecticut during Barack Obama's presidency, 90% of the country said, listen, universal background checks, a background check for any gun transaction, even personal transactions. If I sell a gun to my friend, I should still have some system where I can easily run a required background check before I sell them a gun. Maybe I don't know everything about my friend. Limits on ammunition, requirements in terms of insurance. We require insurance in most states in order to drive a vehicle. Why wouldn't we require insurance for owning guns? What about relicensing? Not just you do a weekend and then you get your FID card and that's it, but relicensing the way we do with driver's license. There's so much low-hanging fruit, and the right has very successfully framed the debate as any gun safety regulations should on principle be opposed and are violations of the Second Amendment. Now, of course, that's not true. It's just not the case. We have a Second Amendment and the Second Amendment remains in place, but we have a really sick situation. And a lot of this, as I've spoken about before, and this relates to a lot of other issues we talk about, we have a broken culture in the United States. Too many people see guns as a valid solution to problems, interpersonal problems, social problems, political problems. We've talked about that. We also can't ignore untreated and undiagnosed mental health in the United States, as well as lack of access to mental health services, as well as stigma around getting treatment for mental health. It's not, the way the right likes to say, just a mental health problem of individuals. No, but it is part of it for sure. And it's a lot of different things together. Compare that to a country like Switzerland, where it's not, the right loves to say, Switzerland has tons of guns and they don't have a mass shooting problem. Well, but hold on a second. Look at the required training in Switzerland. Look at the healthcare system in Switzerland. Look at the culture in Switzerland, where it would be seen as bonkers to consider using a firearm to solve an interpersonal or political problem. In the United States, we have an entire political movement based around, no, violence is valid as a way to solve problems. So when the right says it's just mental health, it's not. But that's a component. Culture is a component, etc. Think back to the Kyle Rittenhouse thing. As I've said before, it makes sense based on the facts that he was acquitted. We said that from the beginning. Based on the way self-defense laws are written, it makes sense that he was acquitted. But it is a failure of parenting. It's a failure of gun culture. It's a failure of so many different things. And that is pretty unique to the United States. Maybe it exists in some other countries which we wouldn't typically compare ourselves to. I'm not sure, but it is quite a disturbing situation here. It is a brand new year. Maybe you have goals around getting in better shape, maybe cutting back on sugar. That's why you should check out our longtime sponsor, Magic Spoon. Magic Spoon tastes exactly like the delicious sweet breakfast cereals you loved as a kid, but Magic Spoon has 0 grams of sugar, 14 grams of protein, and only 4 net carbs. So it's perfect if you're doing low carb or keto, or if, like me, you just try to limit your sugar intake. You can build your own variety pack with flavors like cocoa, fruity, frosted, peanut butter, cinnamon, cookies and cream, waffle, maple, blueberry. That's my favorite. Magic Spoon lets you enjoy a sweet, delicious snack without the guilt. You can stick to your goals and still treat yourself. And if you don't love Magic Spoon as much as I do, they'll give you all of your money back, no questions asked. Magic Spoon is giving my audience $5 off when you go to magicspoon.com/Pacman and use the promo code Pacman.